don't know if you can tell, but I love Five Nights at Freddy's. And because the new movie is coming up soon, I thought it'd be fun to talk about my experiences with the series, kind of like a time capsule for people that are just as nostalgic as me, except I'm the one talking about it and embarrassing myself, so you guys better enjoy it. I can't take another hit on my YouTube career after the last video about growing up on something. So I wanted to talk about things like music videos, a little bit of gaming, animations, and even my own experiences with Five Nights at Freddy's, especially before we had all that convoluted stuff, because no son of mine is going to be learning about Fnaf like that. That's not the way you're supposed to do it, Dad. They want you to learn about the Mimic. I don't know about the Mimic. Why would they change Fnaf? Fnaf is Fnaf. Fnaf is Fnaf! Now, for those who are watching this video and don't know what Five Nights at Freddy's is, or Fnaf, to keep it simple, then why are you watching? I'm just kidding. Five Nights at Freddy's is a series made on August 8th, 2014 by creator Scott Cawthon, who used to make Christian movies.
David was very skilled with a slingshot and had defeated bears and lions to protect his flock.
Due to his movies doing poorly and one of his games, Chipper and Sons, receiving negative reviews and complaints about how the characters look like creepy animatronics, that it sparked inspiration inside of him. If people only thought his creations looked creepy, then he'll try to make a scary game, and that so happened to be Five Nights at Freddy's. This game changed the gaming community and horror genre as a whole for several years, with each game being bigger than the last. This completely spawned a huge fandom, and obviously what we're talking about today, and since I've already pretty much gave you all the whole entire rundown, I think it's time to grab your exotic butters, and let's move on to the community. I think you know, of course, which fan song we gotta talk about first. I mean, it's quite literally known for the Hall of Fame for fan songs, The Mimic. Okay, I get it. Now give it to me, editor. Please don't make me sit in silence. We all know the iconic song made by the Living Tombstone, unless you've been living under a rock. Or a tombstone, I might add. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all night, please. Please, someone save me! Of course, this is probably one of the first mainstream fan songs for the FNAF, and the most iconic. Now, of course, you may be wondering, I know I was not an awkward kid singing this song in public like that one kid. I hope that kid is doing well, you know. He's my hero, and personally though, I was more of a bendy kid. I hope y'all know in an alternate universe that could have been me, so be happy we're in the worst one where I'm making these videos. But this song was just so iconic, and I would blast this on FNAF Tycoon and Roblox, which of course would just play this over and over again. I had no issues with it at all, but this song is one of the biggest moments in the FNAF fandom whenever it was posted besides, I don't know, the Mimic?
I'm gonna kick her ass. Hello, I am Secret of fucking Mimic.
Okay, I get it, the Mimic is funny! But as serious as I can be, this song really meant a lot to me and was definitely my gateway getting more into the FNAF community. I mean, it's obvious I wasn't the only one. I mean, look at that view count! 398 million views. Not to mention, this was also at the end of the FNAF movie, shocking everyone and literally making people scream from how happy they were to be seen in the community. So this is just an iconic moment, not only in the FNAF community, but also in the horror genre of games too. So thank you, Living Tombstone. You've made a lot of people's fondest memories growing up from your songs. Oh wait, they made more? Of course I didn't forget about the second and third songs, which were literally huge! Like, the FNAF 2 fan song was one of the biggest things on TikTok, having its own dance, gathering a total view count of 369 million views, and the third FNAF fan song got 229 million views, not to mention his fourth and fifth songs being iconic as well, but unfortunately I didn't really like the fourth one, mainly because it sounded like a robot, and to be honest, I just don't like it, so unfortunately I like the CG5 one more. Now you may be wondering why I said that. I mean, like, well, you saw the other clip. Okay, you didn't have to play it again. Okay, I get it. So I love this song, and of course, like the last growing up video, I have an embarrassing story with this one. When listening to this when I was like 11 or 12, I would act out and roleplay as if I was the kid singing. Not to mention the movements and act like I was in the video, imagining how cool I looked and when I actually looked like those kids singing in front of class. I'm telling you guys, in an alternate universe that could have been me. Not only that, but while sitting in the car next to my dad, I had this blasting full volume on my phone and I put my headphones in the wrong way. So of course I was just blasting it out loud to hear. I don't think he heard it, but still a very scary experience and something I'll always think about whenever I'm listening to this song. I'll still die on this hill though, because this song is fire from CG5 and probably one of the only songs I've liked from him. I think I've talked about him enough, so let's just please move on. Please, I don't like this dude. One mistake still takes and it's made you bad. No one's there. No one's there. No one's somebody there. Now, this is something I could talk about for a long time, but I don't want to bore you more than I already am, my Fnaf audience. Okay, I get it, I'm not that funny, but come on, guys, come on! This was literally their magnum opus. This musical was made by random encounters who have made several other songs that I would listen to on repeat, but for now, it's just Fnaf the musical. They had some of the biggest icons here like Markiplier, Nathan Sharp, and Matt Pat.
Don't you tell me how many calories I need, bitch!
Now, when I tell you I was obsessed with this musical. Every single song would be on repeat every single time, especially the Night 2 song. I would be singing that on repeat. Markiplier had such an amazing voice, he was perfect for this role, and I don't think this video would have been as popular without him, but like, listen! Just you and me, a gun or three, and nothing else between me and this door. What I also thought was amazing about this musical was that it was in production while the games were being made, and considering those guys obviously didn't know what the lore was, just like everyone else, and was still wondering what was even going on, they decided to put their own spin on the series, which made the musical feel more special since it had its own lore put into it, and you can clearly tell that everyone enjoyed doing this musical and that it was a lot of fun. So this was really a big thing for the FNAF community whenever it released. Of course, you're also wondering what these sock puppets you're seeing on screen are. Well, these are the animatronics, but I think that I like this style a lot more because it makes them feel a lot more alive rather than trying to make actual replicas of animatronics like SML did.
Honestly, this job is pretty cake. I mean, it's the same shit every night. I just sit back in the security room. Any questions?
While you were talking, Freddy scratched his balls.
Not to mention, it also makes it feel more comedic and whimsical compared to giant animatronics, because I don't think that this would give off the same tone.
I want to go home.
I think that it was definitely the right call because it would have been terrifying seeing that, or like even with this scene.
Baby, I love you.
The FNAF musical was such a fun watch, and it's only 30 minutes, so I'd recommend watching if you haven't already. And I didn't know where to include this, but the voice of Freddy is also the voice of Joker from Persona, and the announcer for Smash Bros. 4 and Ultimate. You know what that means? Freddy Fazbear is a phantom thief! There's also 2 more songs I want to talk about, which is great because that means I can talk more about how I'm embarrassing. Those 2 songs are It's Me by Tryhard Ninja and Join Us for a Bite by JT Music, also the creator of the Cuphead rap that I would also sing to, and a prime example of why I was a loser. All roads lead back to me looking like an idiot. There's no escaping any fandom I was in. It's Me was a really good song that would have an awesome music video, and not to mention when the beat dropped, we hit the whip and Nay Nay. You already know Join Us for a Bite, but if you didn't and are like normal, welcome to the FNAF community. This was another iconic FNAF song people would dance to, and I remember asking my sister whenever I was a little kid if she knew about the games or something, and she said no, and then I immediately saw red. I love this song, and it's probably one of the main reasons I look like those people who would pretend to move like the animatronics. I'm not gonna let this go. I gotta shove it in all of your faces that I was a total loser back then. Okay, this is the last creator for music I'm gonna talk about because I thought that about this last second and remembered I needed to add this guy. And that man, his name is El Hugany, or Linguini? I couldn't figure out his name besides knowing it was also Logan. You know, I'm clearly the better one though, you know, like this is the Constantine and Lemur situation all over again. I'm number 1. You're number 2. We are YouTubers at large, but I'm at larger than you. I'm number 1. You're number 2. I believe in equality as long as you get less than me. This YouTuber was known for his fan song parodies that would sometimes take already made songs and make it into a parody that would fit the game, which of course led me to believe that Madonna stole Toad's beautiful song to make Like a Prayer.
When I'm in first place with my banana peel, I watch you spin, I wrinkle your steering wheel.
Or who could forget his iconic Undertale fan song that was clearly being stolen by Lady Gaga.
Story of Undertale.
Yes, I thought I was so smart when I realized what parodies were, but this is not what this is about. We want to see the FNAF songs, and yeah, these were actually so fire. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I ruined it. I'm sorry.
Like, little kid me would act these out like the other songs, acting like I was some cool guy when in reality I was one jump scare away from pooping on the couch. But you can't just sit here and tell me this isn't fire.
5 Nights at Freddy's. Please let me survive 5 nights. 5 Nights at Freddy's. Endless animatronic rides. 5 nights. Dim lights. No sleep. They creep.
Alright, if you didn't like that one, then what about this fan song about FNAF 4? That was a banger too!
I'm gonna hide and pray that I don't die. That I don't die.
Okay, maybe I should just keep these songs to myself. It doesn't help that I would act it out like I did for the CG5 video. Man, these videos just keep exposing me more and more. Okay, and I was also not a big fan of the one he made for the second game, and then the third one...
We don't talk about that area.
Now, this was definitely an era, and I'm genuinely confused why he even bothered to sing this.
This attraction is great. So many guys I can.
Like, genuinely, who thinks of this stuff? It's definitely not okay to be joking about this, of course, but in my mind, it's just so off-brand, and I just can't help but wonder why he thought this would be a good idea to sing that. I wonder which artist he parodied to sing that. What makes it worse is the fact that he decided to reference it for the FNAF movie fan song, but like, I can't help but laugh at how stupid this is because this part would be genuinely so good if they decided not to include this.
This attraction is great. So many guns I can. Great.
I know y'all have been obviously noticing the art, like yeah, the animation is definitely not the best, but it just makes this experience just 10 times funnier when they have stuff like this.
Went to dance for my little sis. 'Cause everyone's ready and will hiss.
I think MatPat should sue for being drawn like this. Not only that, but for some reason they make a reference to that scene in Family Guy when they're roller skating, and it's just so funny. I'm sorry I keep playing clips, but this video just gets funnier the more I watch it, and it's just so unbelievably hysterical. If y'all ever have the time, go watch the videos, and it'll probably give you like a good hour of laughs, or maybe a new song you're embarrassed to say you enjoy. Now, if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna listen to some music for a second while I'm here in the office.
This attraction is great. So many guns I can. Great.
In the end, FNAF fan songs have been a staple of the community, and if you're saying, what about this song? Well, I'm already spending so much time on just songs, and I have a lot more of a video to do, but I'll just do one more for you. Something more popular.
Loser, Jaxie, a loser, and so tacky.
No, that's not even the same series. Wait a minute, that would make a good video. Write that down, write that down! Okay, never mind, let's just move on to something else. FNAF animations. Now I could really go over the iconic ones or like horrible ones. You know what kind of video this is. We're talking about both, which I think a nice place to start off with is... Pymations with their FNAF videos, which were pretty much some of the most iconic lines of the FNAF community, like this.
Pretty sure that's Freddy.
Sweet, succulent AA batteries.
Where are you going?
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
And I will stab you. Wait a minute. The FNAF 2 video was actually another one of the main reasons I wanted to make this video. My sister had sent me a TikTok of that animation and laughing hysterically while I just stared at it. Like, of course this is still funny and iconic today, but I was more stunned by the fact that she didn't experience this and is now only getting more into the series because of the movies. It made me think more about the older things that she never experienced, and I just got nostalgia looking over the old stuff like this, and I was like Andy from Toy Story. But Pymations, I think, has been a staple of not only the FNAF community, but others as well, making other things for Overwatch, TF2, and his own original series. This creator has come a long way from his Minecraft video. I mean, that's all I gotta say about Pymations. He's pretty good. Now, I also can't talk about FNAF animation videos without mentioning the animated gamer videos that were everywhere, posted by YouTubers like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and iHasCupquake. This really meant a lot to me as a kid, mainly because I was terrified of FNAF and couldn't bring myself to even bother with watching it because I would just be one step away from looking like this. So it was great being able to still feel like I was a part of the FNAF community without watching the actual gameplay videos until I finally did and still look like this. But these animations all had their unique charm about them. Markiplier just talking and his jokes was always something that I laughed at. iHasCupquake always had something about it I just really loved. I think it might have been the art style because it was made by Jaden Animations, or maybe it was just her voice. Yeah, this was my first ASMR right next to Jacksepticeye, and his awesome animations were of him saying this.
Just keep flashing. Keep flashing. Chica, you want to flash me? Oh, that'd be kinky, right?
This was a bad period for Chica when she was like this. I mean, I guess I could put her in my top 10 hottest FNAF characters though. Talk about hot chick heaven with all these babes around. Let's get into the video. Here we go! Number 1. Chica FNAF. Hey wait, since we're talking about FNAF animations, now it's time to talk about Nick Cheesy. You wake up one day. Guys, I get another chance to talk about my childhood YouTuber. SMG4's FNAF animations are, how do you put it? Stupid. And I loved it. I'm not even joking, this dumb series got me over my fear of FNAF because of the whole idea of Mario just working at a pizzeria and loses it after being scared and just absolutely beats up the animatronics. That is the whole joke, but each video, while the same idea, has different jokes and setups to these different games, and I love that about these videos. I remember I genuinely believed that they were going to be the scariest videos of all time for some reason, even though it's just SMG4, so just scenes of absolute stupidity. I will say though, like most of this stuff is definitely a product of its time, and I mean, I still love it. I can just see how it's not meant for some people, so while all of you people are starving, I'll be eating this slop up like a pig.
Please, Daddy.
I told you, when I'm finished, you can have what's left.
If we're talking about FNAF being scary, then we also gotta talk about these videos also have some of the most iconic lines we hear today, which these clips weren't really animation, but just using game footage and having funny audios in the background.
Hey, excuse me, do you have the time?
Yeah, sure. It's, half past.
Kind of like Pokemon Ranger Boy, where it was just audio in the background. I just don't know what I would even consider this, but at least these guys would have their own jokes, and it wasn't just putting vines and meme audios in the background of clips, which is still something I would much rather see than Skibbity Toilet or Rent a Girlfriend. I know this isn't even an anime video, but I still gotta hate on that. There's not much I would tell y'all about these animations besides these were iconic and these are pretty funny. I don't have much stories for these, unfortunately. It was mainly the songs that I had beef with, but let's just move on to the next topic. I think there's no denying that the game community was one of the biggest reasons why FNAF took off. I mean, how else would it take? Oh my god! Oh my god! What is that? Oh my god! Ah! But I feel like there's not much I can say besides our standard people to list off again, such as people like Markiplier, who is deemed the king of FNAF as he beat the game in 520 mode, which is basically setting all the animatronics difficulties to I eat babies mode. Mark would do this for each game in the series, and it would just be fun watching this grown man get gray hairs every single time he died. I think it was also pretty funny because Mark would just be screaming out things, and it basically became the lore for FNAF, especially when playing FNAF 3 and the only thing he could scream was PURPLE GAY! Compared to other people playing this game, nobody had as much charm as Mark. No hate towards any of them because their videos were also super popular. I just think that Markiplier had such a charming personality that it just made him stand out among the crowd, especially for how he was one of the few people that I witnessed beating 520 mode in FNAF, which at the time was a huge feat. So yeah, I don't see any of you other YouTubers doing this blasphemous HD.
She is such a bad bitch though. I will fuck the shit out of that robot, man. I'm not even...
Hey, wait a minute. This dude was in a controversy? Guys, I genuinely just found this out right now. I'm like writing this out while I'm watching a video, which y'all should definitely check out. It was made by Internet Anarchist, and this dude was cheating on his girlfriend, and he tried to say it's not even his fault and that she manipulated him. Are you serious? Not to mention this dude quite literally said this in a video a couple of years after the breakup on his own site, because behind a paywall, I might add, because he wasn't getting any money from YouTube. You know what? This has not been a good part for the FNAF fandom. Never mind. Respect for the girlfriend, and I hope she's doing better.
Although for you, Blasphemous HD, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the FNAF fans waiting.
Oh hey, it's MatPat.
Logan is great.
Now, even though MatPat did play the games, it's not the main reason I'm bringing him up. MatPat is probably one of the main staples of the FNAF fandom due to his channel Game Theory. That's right, your lovable FNAF musical star is actually a game theorist trying to figure out how big Luigi's meat is. I think everyone in the FNAF community was obsessed with these videos as each one came out with the series, trying to piece together things and feeling like you were a super genius, even though you were probably shoving crowns in your nose while watching. Each video, watching Matt go crazy trying to understand and figure out the lore of the series, when he was basically going off scraps and genuinely believing that the series might be a reference to an actual murders happening. Ah, the good old simple days of FNAF. However, with the amount of effort put into theorizing and taking in all this information, Matt really solidified his role in being a big part of the FNAF community, and with each theory, while sounding very off and not being close at all since the series had just been coming out, I still think that this has been one of the peaks of the FNAF fandom trying to figure out what in the world a FNAF was. He was also in the Bendy and the Ink Machine musical.
Come get a look, it's nothing like you've seen, it's my trendy new Bendy Ink Machine.
All roads lead back to that kid dancing in class. Now, after talking about all these people, I thought maybe it was a good time to talk about my experiences with FNAF, guys. Now, FNAF came out August 8th, 2014, so that means I was like 11 or 12. And let me tell you, that was probably the day I had fear instilled into me. Right next to internet creepypastas, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, and Crash and Bernstein. I don't know about y'all, but that freaked me out horribly as a kid. Even though I was terrified of the game, something entranced me with these characters. The location, the idea, even the concept as a whole of Five Nights at Freddy's was something never done before. It was new. Which is sad now comparing it to nowadays, just where most people are usually disappointed with the new things coming out, and how it's not seen as a scary series as much anymore, and feels more dedicated to children instead of how it was portrayed back then. It really took me a while to get into the series, considering that I was afraid of the jump scares, and it was really one of the first horror games I really tried getting into. However, the more I got involved with the creators and watching them play these games, make theories, animations, and skits about characters being thrown into the series, I slowly became became enamored with the series and wanted to know more about it. I was so obsessed with FNAF that I was like Walter from the Muppets. I even gained the courage to play the first game on my iPad. I would try to beat 520 mode like Markiplier, but I never could because I was stupid and I would brag about how good I was when in reality I was terrified of this game series. Especially with the second one. Whenever that came out, I saw that there wasn't any doors and I was genuinely freaked out about how scary that concept is, so I did what all kids my age would do. I watched Markiplier and covered my eyes half of the time, and I turned down my volume so I couldn't hear the jump scares. Well, that night I punched my screen. I think the third game with Springtrap was definitely something that really made me fear the series as a whole, and since Springtrap was so different compared to all the other animatronics, considering that he just looked horrible. Do you look at this dude? He looks like you could have beaten him with a single breath. Unfortunately, this would be one of the weakest games in the series since it really is simple compared to the others, but to little kid me, this was probably like the main the main game I stayed away from since how horrifying Springtrap looked to me, including the fact that there was also a rotting corpse inside of it just solidified the cherry on top, and the reason I would never play or watch Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Which now, it sounds really dumb considering that the game is just not scary at all. From a grown-up perspective who's been through this series, me and several others find this game just not to be scary. Sure, the story helps a lot and explains a lot with the lore, but the game just fundamentally not the best. The gameplay loop is boring, and the jump scares are just so meh. Wait, meh?
The emoji pop!
Not to mention the fourth one. Now, that was actually a war zone for me. If the first 3 games were the SpongeBob roller coaster, then the 4 through 6 ones were purgatory. You guys do not understand the amount of fear I had felt when seeing the 4th game was in a bedroom at night, and only solidified the thought that if I go out of my room at night, then I would be murdered by Freddy Fazbear. So I took the easy route and I pooped in my room. Sister Location is actually really crazy to think about because for all the FNAF games, there were these trailers that would come out, of course, showing off the new game and what the animatronics would be like. Now, I was at my friend's house, the one who introduced me to Markiplier, and she's basically one of the building blocks for the reason I am here today. The trailer had popped up on the TV, and we all decided to watch it together in the living room. Now, I had not even touched the 4th game or bothered looking at it, unless it was game theory, so when I saw the trailer, I genuinely felt immense fear. Yeah, I was probably still in elementary school. Do any of y'all feel old yet, you old geezers? I still honestly do. Like, with the last 3 games, I can't even lie, that's the majority of how I grew up. Being afraid of these monsters. Even though all of this fear growing up with this series, I still have so much love for it. The concept for one of the most unique ideas we have seen was genuinely lightning in a bottle. It makes me sad knowing that FNAF now, while still popular and loved by people, isn't seen in the same light considering all the lore feeling messy, having to read books to understand what's going on, and in general just feeling like it's more marketed towards kids now rather than trying to be scary, and feels like a story you go through that just so happens to be horror. Like, it feels like there's amazing ideas for a horror series, but in the end the horror aspect is just thrown at the side and just doesn't have that same effect as it did back then. Now, I'm not making this video talking about how the new FNAF is bad and old FNAF will always be better, but more of just an appreciation of how far the series has really come. Being only a $5 game on Steam that Scott made not thinking of anything, and then becoming one of the biggest horror franchises of this generation, to the point where it's gotten its own movie that I will say, it was pretty okay. It wasn't that bad. Unlike the Slender Man movie, that was not good. And it's getting a second movie, which it already came out. I was making this video in the time that this came out, and I'm sorry, but it was okay. It wasn't my favorite, but it was okay. But in the end, Five Nights at Freddy's was one of the best horror games, and the series will always live on in people's hearts, and that is because so many people like me and you who grew up on Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's is an iconic game series that started in 2014 and has gained a huge fandom in the process, and genuinely a time where several people would come together to share their love for a series, which would be expressed through gaming videos, animations, comics, fan art, fan songs, skits, and theories. that made everyone join together as a community, and in the end, I'm so happy to be able to share all these experiences with you all. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching the video and learned more about the FNAF fandom, or just got to relive memories that you fondly remembered or wish you'd buried deeper in your brain. Comment down below whatever you would like me to talk about next, or your experiences you had growing up on the series. And since it's a video about growing up on FNAF, I thought it'd be a great idea to play a game for y'all just to end off the video. Alright, back in the iconic office, even though I was in the office the whole video, but you get the point. It just feels so nostalgic playing this game again. Wait a minute, I don't even like FNAF. I was a bendy kid. Tonight, build up our machine, you die tonight. I am aware that your soul is now divine. We killed and I tore with them broken chains, so don't tour with us like you did to our shining stars. So prepare for adventure, for a whole new creature from the darkest side. We can't take away the pain we feel, creating us monsters that come to life. Come back to life.